4:12 a.m. International waters, exactly 75 nautical miles south of the Strait of Hormuz. The dark surface of the Persian Gulf suddenly ignites as the burning wreckage of 76 Iranian Shahed 136 suicide drones rains down like a humiliating meteor shower. Flaming composite wings and shattered engines hiss violently against the cold salt water. Right through the center of this catastrophic debris field, a 100,000-ton United States Navy aircraft carrier steadily cuts through the ocean at a relentless 21 knots, completely untouched and not altering its course by a single degree. If the Iranian commanders truly believed they could overwhelm the ultimate American floating fortress with a cheap, desperate swarm of flying lawnmowers, then they were about to receive a brutally expensive lesson in American combat supremacy. But folks, here is the lethal error that they completely missed. Stay focused, because how this massive failure unfolded in just minutes is a pure masterclass in making the enemy bleed out their budget and their pride before they even realize they are dead. Moments before this spectacular humiliation, inside a concealed coastal bunker near Bandar Abbas, the Iranian operators were practically high-fiving each other. They were staring at their glowing radar screens with the absolute arrogance of men who thought they had finally cracked the code to defeating the United States Navy. Their master plan relied on a textbook asymmetrical nightmare. 5 MiG, 2 9 Fulcrums roaring at 24,000 feet to act as a loud, flashy distraction, while a massive, invisible swarm of 76 Shahed 136 suicide drones and 4 Mohajer 6 reconnaissance UAVs slithered just above the waves in a deadly sea-skimming formation. They honestly believed this synchronized mechanical wave, costing barely a fraction of a single American warship, would overwhelm the defensive grid, drain the fleet's multi-million-dollar interceptor missiles, and secure a massive propaganda victory for Tehran. But those with a truly sharp tactical mind watching this will immediately spot the fatal flaw in their pathetic math. The quote, ordinary viewers might look at those radar blips and see an unstoppable tidal wave of cheap explosives closing in for the kill. But here is the genius detail that the Iranian planners entirely missed while they were popping bottles and celebrating early. Way above the cloud cover, cruising silently at 27,000 feet, the ultimate brain of the United States Navy was already dissecting their pathetic ambush. An E-2D advanced Hawkeye, a flying supercomputer with its massive rotating radar dome, had seen through their flashy little MiG distraction the very second it left the tarmac. Vampire! Vampire! The air control officer's voice sliced through the tactical comms like ice, instantly painting the entire 76 drone zombie swarm on every single command screen across the carrier strike group. The Iranians actually thought they were sneaking under the radar, skimming the waves like ghosts. But wait, there is one more layer to this triple threat failure. While those enemy pilots were feeling invincible, they had no idea they were just slow-moving, low-budget target practice for an invisible executioner. Inside the darkened combat information center of the flagship, bathed in the eerie red glow of tactical displays, the tactical action officer is staring down a brutal mathematical nightmare. The Iranian strategy is not just a military assault, it is a calculated economic hemorrhage designed to bleed the United States Navy dry. Every single one of those 76 incoming Shahed 136 drones is a cheap, mass-produced piece of flying garbage, costing roughly $20,000 a pop to assemble in a dusty factory. Now, look at the American side of the ledger. The standard reaction to a massive inbound aerial threat is to unleash a volley of SM-6 interceptor missiles, an absolute marvel of engineering that practically guarantees a kill but comes with a staggering $4 million price tag per unit. If you were the commander of this billion-dollar vessel, watching a swarm of budget explosives crawling across your screen, what would your next move be? Would you panic and start emptying your multi-million-dollar magazine into the sky? Or would you trust the machine? Because if the fleet fires off $100 million worth of advanced interceptors to swat down $1 million worth of Iranian lawnmower engines, Tehran wins the war of attrition without ever sinking a single ship. This is the exact dilemma the enemy banked on, a sheer numbers game intended to deplete the carrier strike group's expensive defensive payload before the real fight even begins. But here's the catch that the Iranian planners completely missed when they drafted this supposed masterstroke. The United States military does not just outgun its adversaries, it outthinks them at the speed of light. Instead of throwing panic-induced money at the problem, the E-2D Hawkeye seamlessly feeds the entire threat picture directly into the Aegis combat system, the most sophisticated automated defense network on the planet. Through a flawless, instantaneous data link, the Aegis network analyzes the trajectory, speed, and threat level of all 76 suicide drones simultaneously. Within fractions of a millisecond, the system executes perfect sector scheduling, dynamically assigning specific targets to specific weapons platforms across the entire strike group. Not a single missile is wasted on overlapping targets, and not a single drone is left unaccounted for in the lethal kill matrix. Stay tuned, because the physics of destruction in the next 30 seconds is about to change the entire tactical playbook forever, turning an economic trap into an absolute magnificent slaughter. Meanwhile, back in that sweaty, smoke-filled coastal bunker, the Iranian tactical officers are completely detached from the reality of their own impending doom. They are looking at the same radar screens, but they are reading a completely different, entirely fictional story. To them, the lack of immediate massive missile launches from the American fleet looks exactly like hesitation, a glorious sign of panic setting in across the strike group. They are probably cracking open more pistachios and patting themselves on the back, utterly convinced that their $20,000 flying trash cans have forced the greatest naval power in human history into a corner. And up in the sky, 25 nautical miles away from the carrier, the illusion of invincibility is even more embarrassing. Those 5 MiG-29 Fulcrum pilots, riding on an adrenaline high of unearned confidence, decide to drop their altitude down to 10,000 feet. They honestly believe they own the airspace now, arrogantly strutting through the sky to clear a final path for their pathetic drone swarm. The lead Iranian pilot confidently rests his thumb just millimeters above the firing trigger for his R-77 air-to-air missiles, scanning the empty horizon and thinking he is the apex predator of the Persian Gulf. If you ask why they are acting so bold, I will tell you an unbelievable military secret. Their outdated Soviet-era warning systems are telling them the sky is completely clear of any threats. But folks, here is the lethal error that is about to turn their arrogance into ashes. Most people just see 5 fighter jets flying in formation. But the true tactical minds watching this know exactly what happens when you fly a noisy, glowing heat signature straight into a stealth kill box. These arrogant victims are completely blind to the fact that they have been locked onto for the last 5 minutes. Stay with me, because the next move isn't just a shot, it is total erasure. But here is the twist that makes this entire operation an absolute masterclass in technological supremacy. High above that pathetic Iranian formation, cruising in absolute invisible silence at exactly 35,000 feet, the real apex predators of the United States Navy are already perfectly positioned for the kill. 2 fifth-generation F-35C Lightning II stealth fighters are casually circling their prey, and they have not even bothered to turn on their active radars. If you are wondering how they track a target without broadcasting their position, here is the detail that makes this a masterpiece of strategic intimidation. The F-35 utilizes the ANAAQ-37 distributed aperture system, a seamless network of passive electro-optical sensors that absorbs the raw infrared heat signatures radiating from those clueless MiG engines. The American pilots are sitting comfortably in their cockpits watching the enemy fighters light up like neon targets on their helmet displays, while the outdated Iranian warning receivers remain completely dead and silent. Those 5 Iranian pilots are officially dead men, flying, entirely blind to the terrifying reality that they have already been mathematically eliminated from the battlefield. Stay focused, because how the United States simultaneously solves the incoming drone problem is an absolute financial nightmare for Tehran. While the stealth fighters hold the MiGs hostage from the stratosphere, the carrier strike group unleashes the perfect, brilliantly economical answer to the suicide drone swarm's deadly trap. Instead of taking the bait and firing those multi-million-dollar interceptors, a heavily armed squadron of FA-18E Super Hornets screams down from the clouds like avenging angels. But folks, here is the lethal error the drone operators made. They forgot that America can do cheap, mass-produced, and terrifyingly deadly better than anyone else on the planet. Hanging off the weapon pylons of those Super Hornets are not expensive cruise missiles, but specially modified pods loaded with the Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System, known as the APKWS. These are incredibly simple, unguided Hydra rockets that military engineers brilliantly slapped a $30,000 laser guidance kit onto, turning a cheap piece of dumb pipe into a flawlessly accurate drone killer. If you were the Iranian commander banking your career on bankrupting the American fleet today, would you start screaming when you realized your precious swarm of explosive lawnmowers was about to get annihilated by weapons costing less than a used luxury car? The Super Hornet pilots casually locked their targeting lasers onto the slow-moving Shahed drones, treating this engagement less like a high-stakes dogfight and more like a leisurely, target-rich duck hunt over the Persian Gulf. They are about to show Tehran the true meaning of air superiority. Don't blink unless you want to miss the exact moment an Iranian offensive turns into a floating scrapyard. The Super Hornets unleash a relentless barrage of APKWS rockets, their solid propellant motors igniting with a deafening roar as they streak downward at supersonic speeds. The laser seekers lock onto the crude fiberglass bodies of the Shahed drones, transforming the swarm of explosive lawnmowers into a series of rapid-fire fireballs right above the churning waves. In 40 seconds, 76 kamikaze drones are vaporized, turning an absolute propaganda dream into ash for the bargain price of a few modified Hydra rockets. But wait, there is one more layer to this triple threat failure. While the sky rains burning debris, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard tries a desperate ground-level maneuver. A pack of Boghammer speedboats, heavily armed but completely unprotected, tries to slip through the chaotic smokescreen to harass the fleet. If you think the Navy needs to activate its multi-million-dollar phalanx CIWS to deal with these gnats, you are underestimating American brutality. The Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS McFall violently accelerates, aggressively carving through the ocean to meet the incoming speedboats head-on. The captain does not bother spinning up the electronic warfare suites. Instead, the Mk-45 5-inch main deck gun violently pivots, locking its mechanical gaze onto the approaching swarm at exactly 5 nautical miles. The thermal truth is about to get very loud. The massive 5-inch gun thunders, spitting out 70-pound high-explosive projectiles that obliterate the speedboats in a blinding flash before they can even see the giant warship. The smoke finally clears over the Persian Gulf, leaving a pathetic graveyard of Iranian ambitions bobbing on the waves. The 100,000-ton American carrier continues its relentless patrol at 21 knots without a single scratch on its hull. If you were the Iranian commander looking at this aftermath, you would realize you just flushed a massive propaganda campaign down the toilet. But folks, here is the genius detail that makes this a total strategic checkmate. The Navy did not just survive. They embarrassed Tehran without even opening their main checkbook. The vertical launch cells on the destroyers are still packed with those $4 million SM-6 missiles, their magazines completely untouched by the panic the enemy hoped to cause. The stealth fighters and Super Hornets casually turned back to the fleet, unchallenged. Ordinary viewers see fireworks, but those who understand modern warfare know America won a massive economic battle by swatting down a threat with pocket change and pure tactical brilliance. But wait, there is one more terrifying layer to this failure. While those panicked MiG pilots burned their engines to run, they gave away the house. Only the sharpest tactical minds will realize the F-35S vacuumed up every single electronic signature the enemy broadcasted. The E-2D Hawkeye traced the drone telemetry straight back, instantly mapping the exact coordinates of those hidden coastal bunkers. Right now, a submerged submarine is flooding its launch tubes, locking dozens of Tomahawk missiles onto the very chairs those arrogant Iranian operators are sitting in. The Navy mapped the enemy's nervous system and placed a loaded gun against its head, ready to vaporize $100 million facilities with impunity. So here is the ultimate question for the masterminds in the comments. If you were commanding this strike group, would you authorize the Tomahawk launch today, or let them live in pure terror? Let me know your move below.